As the third and final day of his Europe tour, one of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's most significant engagements will take place in a short while from now. It's the second India-Nordic Summit. But before the summit, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with leaders of Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, together with Denmark. These countries form the Nordic Five, small countries but economic powerhouses they are. The collective GDP of the Nordic Five is $1.8 trillion. That's bigger than that of Russia's, whose GDP is $1.5 trillion. The Indian External Affairs Ministry even tweeted that the Prime Minister and his Norwegian counterpart reviewed bilateral ties and explored ways of expanding collaboration in areas like blue economy, infrastructure, investment and healthcare. The first India-Nordic Summit was held in Stockholm back in 2018. Prime Minister Modi will meet Prime Ministers of the five countries together as well. Now, the significance of this summit can be gauged by the fact that the United States is the only other country with which the Nordic states engage with at a summit level. On the agenda, post-pandemic economic recovery, climate change, innovation, technology, renewable energy, India-Nordic cooperation in the Arctic region, and not to mention the Ukraine war. Engagement between Europe and India has increased. Foreign ministers from European nations visited India, making a push for growing strategic and economic cooperation. Prime Minister's visit could set the stage for India-EU summit, likely to boost free trade agreement negotiations between the two. Later on, Prime Minister Modi is also set to meet French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris. The meeting will be followed by a dinner at the Elysee Palace with a special vegetarian menu for the occasion. The visit is symbolic since it comes on the heels of President Macron's re-election. Talks will allegedly focus on India's Make in India initiative, cooperation in defense, the Ukraine conflict and the growing tensions in the Indo-Pacific. And for more on this, our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal is now joining us live from the Danish Prime Minister's office in Copenhagen. Siddhant, thank you for joining us. One of the most important engagement of Prime Minister Modi's Europe tour. What is the mood like on ground? What are the expectations from all the sides involved?
Well, I'm standing right in front, standing inside, in fact, the Prime Minister's office of Denmark, and the room next to me is the place where the India-Nordic Summit is going to take place. As for expectations, we know that it's energy, it's trade, it's green transition, and how renewables can be the way forward when it comes to the Nordic countries, and of course the skills they have, they can provide to India, and India can provide the necessary scale. But I can show you the buzz around me. If my camera person can show, this is the room where all the diplomats of the Nordic countries and India are sitting. So a lot of kind of a commotion here in this room, but these leaders are accompanying these delegates are accompanying the leaders and have been, of course, coordinating this multitasked event, because multilateral summits are not an easy thing, because you need to coordinate each and every time when the meetings are going to take place, when the summit is going to take place, because just before the summit there were 4 bilaterals with 4 Nordic countries. Yesterday the Indian Prime Minister met with the Denmark Prime Minister. We saw the joint statement also being issued, but today was an occasion to increase engagement when it comes to other countries in the region. Russian invasion of Ukraine is something that dominated the conversation. In fact, we have spoken, WION has spoken to several of these leaders from Iceland to Sweden to Norway, and they said that they strongly raised the issue, talked about their concerns regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Right, Siddhant. In fact, talking about the bilaterals held ahead of the summit, could you also bring us up to speed with the areas of discussions in the bilaterals? What sort of cooperation can we expect going forward between India and the Nordic Five?
Well, interesting bilaterals. In fact, WION spoke to the Iceland Prime Minister, who said that she discussed yoga with the Indian Prime Minister during her bilateral. We also spoke to the Prime Minister of Finland, who also talked about how fruitful this discussion was. The Norwegian Prime Minister talked about the Russian invasion, but also about environment, about climate change. In fact, the Swedish Prime Minister, when she was speaking to WION, she talked about the heat wave in India, pointing out to how climate change is responsible for that. But there are a lot of commonalities, a lot of parallels when it comes to these 5 Nordic countries, and essentially they being the world leaders when it comes to renewables in terms of geothermal energy. For example, Iceland, they are keen that they can engage with India and help India meet its climate targets. So that is something that was a common theme when it comes to discussions of the various leaders and of course the Indian Prime Minister. But in a short while from now, in approximately 10 to 15 minutes, that big summit is going to start. We will have those visuals of the family photo, and of course the discussion will focus on many things. But above all, this is the Nordic countries coming together with India for not only convergences but also the relationship becoming a factor of stability when it comes to the global geopolitics, which is changing very fast.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.